Now that you've learned about the rhythm of English, I'm going to teach you how to choose the correct word to stress. You may have noticed that the words that I stressed in the previous sentences were nouns and verbs. They carried a lot of meaning in the sentence. So a typical rule is that we stress the words that have a lot of meaning. Those words are called content words. Content words are words that are nouns, like the word boss, verbs, like the word give, adjectives, like the word great, and adverbs, like the word quickly. The other words in the sentences are words that don't really help the meaning, but they help the grammar of the sentence, and those are called function words. The function words are words like prepositions, like the word on, pronouns, like the word he, articles, like the word a, conjunctions, like the word and, helping verbs, like the word can, and the be verb, like the word is. Those words don't usually get stress unless you're trying to emphasize a point. I'm going to read a short poem to you. While I read this poem, listen to the content words and notice that they're stressed. There once was a man named Bob who never found joy in his job. He wanted to quit, but he couldn't admit that he did love to hear himself sob. You can also hear the rhythm of those sentences very easily because it's a poem and it rhymes. This time I'll read it to you again, and I'll clap along with the rhythm so you can hear the stress very strongly. There once was a man named Bob who never found joy in his job. He wanted to quit, but he couldn't admit that he did love to hear himself sob. Now practice that again with me, and I'll go slowly so that you can keep up. Ready? There once was a man named Bob who never found joy in his job. He wanted to quit, but he couldn't admit that he did love to hear himself sob. Let's try it again. There once was a man named Bob who never found joy in his job. He wanted to quit, but he couldn't admit that he did love to hear himself sob. Very good. You might have noticed that in the last line of the poem, I stressed the helping verb did. Now that does break the rule that I just told you about, but sometimes we can stress the function words when we want to emphasize them. So in the poem, I really wanted to emphasize that he loved to hear himself cry, which is kind of unusual, and so that's why I stressed did in the last line. So although you might follow these rules 90% of the time, there are times when you might stress a function word. Now you're ready to stress the content words in your speech.